Thank you, thank you. So one of my favorite quotes is that you can only give to others what you've experienced yourself. And so during this presentation, I'm only going to talk about things that I've walked through, things that I've experienced. And my hope today is that I can impart some ability inside of you all to love people in your workplace, love those in your schools, love your neighbors unconditionally and sacrificially. And I'm going to do that today by really highlighting 4 clients. These are going to be 4 clients and faces of Santa Ana, those that were some previously homeless and some still are. And I'm going to show you and kind of just demonstrate what it looked like and how this all began. And our first client on the top left, his name is Matthew. So here I was one night about 3 years ago reading this book called Love Does. And the book is about showing unconditional love to everybody around you. What does it mean to walk in love? And at the time I'm reading this book, sitting on my couch in downtown Santa Ana, and I hear these screams coming from outside of my window, right outside of my apartment. And these screams were in agony, and they were from a man experiencing homelessness. And me and my wife had previously labeled him in our household the screaming homeless man. And this day I'm reading about loving my neighbors, and the screaming homeless man grabbed my heart. And I told Vanessa, I got to get to know this guy. He's our neighbor. He lives quite honestly right next to us outside. And so a couple days later, I was on my way home from work on my bicycle, and I just felt this nudge to go look for this screaming man. I found him a block away from where I live, put my bike on the ground, sat on the floor next to him, and had the first conversation ever with anybody experiencing homelessness. And as you can imagine, I was scared. I was sweating, I had sweaty palms, butterflies in my stomach. All those thoughts came up. What if he attacks me? What if he's screaming? What if he's not peaceful and doesn't want to talk to me? And I started to realize that I think it was time to break past those barriers of fear. And so I sat down and apologized. I said, hey man, my name is Brian. I'm your neighbor and I'm sorry. And he's like, sorry for what? And I said, I'm sorry for driving by you 100 times, never saying hello. I'm just sorry, what's your name? And he told me his name. He told me his name was Matthew. He'd been homeless for over 10 years, moved out to Santa Ana from Kentucky to pursue a career in music. And as I'm talking to him and he's telling me his story, I start to realize that I see beauty in the struggle. I'm looking into this stranger's face and I'm seeing a lot of the pain and the brokenness, but somehow it was like attractive to me. And so I asked him, kind of just randomly, I actually hadn't painted in 8 years. And I said, hey man, would it be okay if I paint your portrait? I was dying and yearning to get back into my gifting as an artist. And so Matt said yes, to my surprise and to his surprise. And I went home the next day and started painting Matt's portrait. I believe I even took a day off of work. I was so excited to do it that I called in sick and I started painting Matt's portrait. And I started to notice that as I looked at Matt's canvas, back to the picture that I took of him, and the canvas, and back to the picture, I started to notice that my heart was building empathy and compassion for a complete stranger. And this idea popped into my head of, man, what if whatever we spent our time on, our hearts also would follow? And so as I'm spending hours looking at this stranger, my heart was growing in love for him. And so at this point, I had no intention of selling Matt's painting. I had no intention of creating a nonprofit organization. I had no intention to do anything with this piece other than hang it in my home. So I took it out to Matt when I was finished, and the first words out of his mouth was, you actually did it? You actually painted me? And he was so shocked. 10 years of broken promise after broken promise after broken promise, and here comes a stranger that saw something in a man who's felt invisible his whole life, and he couldn't believe that I actually painted it. So here's Matt with his painting. This was a special moment because kind of on a whim, I just said, hey Matt, I want you to do something. I want you to sign this painting as well, right above my signature, because your story, your life, is equally as important to me as the brushstrokes on this canvas. So we gave Matt this pen, and I watched as he sat and kind of focused on trying to remember his signature. Matt has no services, no friends. He had no reason to sign his name probably for 10 years. And he sat there pondering what his signature was. And there was this moment where he realized it, and he was like, oh, okay. And then he signed his name. And I saw in that moment how art and love have the ability to begin a process of restoration in people. The very act of signing his name was like reestablishing his identity as a person and community. And so Matt's dreams, he moved out here to become a musician. A bunch of things didn't go his way, and he ended up on the streets. And so when Matt's painting sold, we used the money to help him record an album, that album that he wrote 10 years ago. And so this was the beginning of Faces of Santa Ana. What if we can meet people, learn to love the hardest people to love, paint their portraits, sell the artwork, and then use the money to meet some of their dreams, wishes, and desires? And so that's what I began to do. Thank you. So now there was a fire burning in my heart. Now I was becoming radical. I was walking around my city meeting complete strangers, didn't care what they looked like, didn't care if they were on drugs, didn't care what the world said about them. I said, I'm gonna go meet as many people as I can, become their friends, and start painting their portraits. Judgment was being removed from my heart. I couldn't see the drugs, I couldn't see the gang life, I couldn't see any of that. All I started to see was who they actually were, the potential of who they can become. And so I met this man on the right named John. And John is wild. John is extremely vibrant. John is incredibly well connected in the city of Santa Ana. And so I started to notice that John was becoming a thread, and he was connecting me with so many different people. And so I asked John, can I paint your portrait? Went home and started painting him. Same thing as Matt. My heart started to turn and love for this complete stranger. I didn't know why, but I would tell my wife, I don't know why, man. I just love John. I love this guy. He had his issues, of course, but I don't know why. I love him. And I think it's because I started spending my time and putting my gifting and my talent towards loving a stranger. And so when John saw his painting, we revealed it and we said, hey, John, this is how we see you. And he started tearing up and getting excited, and he said, whoa, this is how my sister must see me. And for years, his sister had been telling him, this is who you actually are. She had a life of homelessness and drug abuse, and she overcame, and she's been speaking life into her brother for years, and he couldn't get it. He didn't understand what she was talking about. So when he saw the painting, he's like, this is how you see me? This is how she must see me. This is what she's been talking about. And so we're stumbling into this idea of art has the ability to show people who they actually are, show them their full potential. And so John then led me and introduced me to his friend, James, and his little chihuahua, Charlie. James was probably the most abusive in terms of alcoholism that I've ever seen. Bottles and bottles a day. He started telling me his story of his time in the Vietnam War. He came out of the war, and shortly after, his wife and daughter died in a car accident. So in addition to the PTSD, he just started drinking himself into eventually homelessness. And so what does it look like to look at the heart of somebody, to see the thorns placed in their hearts, rather than what their circumstances are? The world says it's a drunk homeless man. The truth is he has a broken heart. And so this is the things we're starting to uncover. And so I started painting James and Charlie's portrait. And this was incredibly special because as I'm looking at the canvas, I'm thinking about his life. I'm thinking about what it looks like, how it must feel to come home from a war and then lose your daughter and your wife. What does that do to a person? And so we then revealed James and Charlie's portrait. And tears filled this man's eyes. He couldn't believe it. He was so excited, for one, to see his dog pictured. Like, thank you for painting my dog. And I'll tell you that James used most of his proceeds to book a hotel room for him to stay in for a couple weeks. And second, to actually take his dog to the vet. We kept having to take his dog to the vet. He's like, I want the dog rid of fleas. I want all the shots. And he was like, I just want to make sure my dog is okay because this is my only person that loves me right now. And so along the process of being friends with James, he came down with a pretty serious bowel infection and ended up in the hospital. So pictured above, you see John who introduced me to James, and James in the hospital with a very, very serious life-threatening infection. And so we were going to the hospital daily, just checking up on James, and eventually we heard they released him. They couldn't tell us where he went. We weren't next of kin, so we have no idea where James is. And so in this process, it's not always roses for us. It's not always happy endings. But if James died, we don't know if he's alive or not. But let's say, in a hypothetical situation, he did lose his life. My wife and I had a discussion one day, and we said, would it be better for him to have died having two people trying to fix him and polish him up for the world to love and accept him again, or just two people focused on loving him? And so this was a realization to us that we need to be out here to love people, not to try to fix anybody. The next client here is my good friend Cindy. Cindy was, she always gave me tough love. And she's a woman living on the street. She lived in the car with her boyfriend for a while. Her boyfriend had an overdose and died in the car right next to her. So she was thrown out to the streets by herself. I think she is 67 in this picture. And so she's sleeping in front of the local mechanic shop. People are always stealing from her. She's trying to stay safe as much as possible, and we just become her friends. And she always gave us tough love. She had this deep, raspy voice, and she'd always say things that were slightly offensive to us. But that's what we love about her. Like, you come to love maybe the imperfections of people, right? And so when Cindy saw her painting, these were her exact words to me in the exact tone she said it. She said, "Blue hair? I don't have blue hair." And she was so upset at me. And here I am as this young artist trying to say, oh no, well Cindy, like artists, we can do like interpretations of color. And I'm trying to explain it to her, and she's like, I don't have blue hair, I don't like it. And then she said, it doesn't matter anyway, because nobody's gonna buy a painting of this old lady. She's like, nobody, she stands on the corner of First and Main every day. She's like, nobody loves me, no one's gonna buy this painting anyway. And so I said, Cindy, you'll be surprised. So I posted this very photo online, and an hour later, someone reached out and said, I need to buy that painting, it reminds me of my grandmother, consider it sold. And so I went out to Cindy and said, hey, guess what? Guess what, old blue-haired lady? Yours is the fastest selling portrait we've ever done, and your painting has sold. And Cindy turned about as bright as her face in that painting. Moved to tears, couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe that she actually has self-worth and value. Like, hey, you're valuable to someone. Do you know that? And so Cindy now carries around this little mini print of herself everywhere. And a lot of people will always tell me, hey, I met your friend Cindy and she showed me her painting. And so the painting that she hated became an image of hope. And Cindy's now off the street. She's living in someone's backyard efficiency. And she told me one day, she said, you know, you didn't get me off the streets. You didn't have those resources. But you did help me hope again and believe in myself. So she ran after all her benefits and things that she deserved as a human being. And she got off the streets. But it's the painting that was an image of hope for her. You showed me what I'm worth. And so this is a photo of my wife, Vanessa, taking Cindy shopping. And they went to Marshall's, and Cindy spent about 20 minutes in front of the nail polish rack. And she's like, how many can I get? We're like, as many as you want. I can choose my own colors. You can get whatever you want. And it was this restorative process again. Wait, I'm worthy enough to pick my own colors? She started explaining to my wife how she hadn't had a bra that actually fit her in like 10 years. Because all the bras were donated, they were never quite her size. So then she spent another 20 minutes in the bra section. I stood away from that. I stopped taking pictures, and I let my wife handle that part. But that's also the importance of having a wife on board, right? Because there's things that I shouldn't be doing. Yes. This was one of the scariest moments of my life. There's a family of 7. The oldest kid being 8, the youngest being 1, and they're living out of their truck in Santa Ana. And they said, hey, we heard you paint portraits of the homeless. We're homeless. Can you help us? And I was terrified. What can I do to help a family this size? I didn't know how to. I don't have kids. What do I do? And in my heart, I just heard, wait, I'm out here to help anybody. I'm out here to love people. And I can love you. Yes, I can love you to the best of my ability. And that's what we started doing. And this family became incredibly close to us. Beach days, and we would take the kids into our home and send mom and dad on date night and movie theater dates and dinner dates. And it was just this beautiful, radical way of loving strangers. Kids came over for a night one time, and we sent the parents out for date night, and the kids slept over our house. And the little girl, Holly, was like, can I sleep with you guys in the bed? And we were like, it was so emotional. It was crazy. But it's amazing. Like, that's what love is. Love is doing the radical things that oftentimes don't make sense. And so we started to realize that Faces of Santa Ana is really becoming a family. We throw galleries, and the clients show up, and now they have something to be associated with other than just homelessness. They're associated with a positive spin on the circumstances that they currently find themselves in. So here's a group of people that didn't necessarily know one another. They're all experiencing homelessness, but they came to the gallery and met, and now we're a part of something bigger than just what the news says about us. We also taught a class of 27 students in Santa Ana High School, and 27 kids signed up to come every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. to paint their neighbors experiencing homelessness that they often walk by every day. And so this is one of the student portraits. They were incredibly talented, and it was because they were motivated by their heart. And so many of them never painted something this big and never used oil paint, but their heart was in it, and so they surprised themselves. This is an image of one of the students revealing her painting to our client, Leon, one of Kim's good friends. And Leon's blown. This is a gallery setting where all the students took their paintings off the wall, approached their clients, and said, this is how I see you. So here's a 16-year-old student saying, I see something in you, right? And thank you. And how do we teach people to cultivate a heart and a lifestyle that sees the best in people, that spreads love beyond measure, that loves radically, that is willing to go a little farther than what is the status quo to make sure somebody feels loved and worth it? This is a building that we got commissioned to paint in Santa Ana. It's a renovated hotel, and 71 units in the hotel now house the previously homeless. So they called and they said, hey, we have some clients. Thank you. We have some clients that we've taken off the streets. Could you do a mural on the building for the clients? So everybody's face that you see on there was someone that had experienced homelessness. They're now housed in this building. And we went in and interviewed them and found out things about their life, quotes, images, and icons that they love. And we dignified them this time 18 feet tall on their building. And so this building has become this image of hope for them. Like, wow, I'm on the side of a building. I've felt invisible for 10 years. Now I'm on the side of a building. And so that radical dignity that you're able to give someone is really what we're after. This is another shot of the building. There's kids on the building. There's a boy in the building, Daniel. And while we're painting, we asked him, hey, Daniel, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel? And he goes, it's always been on my bucket list for someone to paint me. I think he was 14 years old. And he said, and he goes, on a scale of 1 to 10, I feel like an 11 right now. I've had a really hard life, but thank you for painting me on the side of the building. So he's the kid on the left side of the building in the blue with the little dog, and it's just been an amazing experience. So couple years into Faces of Santa Ana, 2 years in, I get a call from a client who I previously painted, and he said, hey, I want you to meet my drug dealer. I want you to paint my drug dealer. Called Vanessa. Hey, is it all right if I go paint a drug dealer? What? But what if it's possible to see past the drug dealing, past what the world says is a bad person? And what if we got down to seeing their heart? And so I said, yes, we'll meet your drug dealer. He said, she loves Chinese food. So that's what we did. We got Chinese food. I went down to the Civic Center, and I met his drug dealer. Her name was Kimberly. And from day one meeting her in person, I never saw her as a drug dealer. I always saw her as a friend or family. For whatever reason, it didn't faze me. We'd be talking in front of her tent, and people would be coming up like, hey, and Kimberly's like, but that's that's okay. That's okay. I wasn't there to turn her into not a drug dealer. I was there to say, hey, have you ever felt real love before? Have you ever been around someone that's not judging you? And so it was okay with me. And so, painted Kimberly's portrait. Amazing experience. She starts getting really close to us. I'd previously seen Kim before I painted her riding around her big 27-inch cruiser as like the queen of Civic Center. Everyone's like, oh, hey, Kim, hey, Kim. And so I'd always been like, who's this lady? Who's like this queen bee that's just riding around in this crazy bike? And I got to know her, and realized that she has a heart, and she's soft, and she's beautiful, and she has dreams and desires. And she was a foster child, she was adopted, and she made some bad decisions in her life, don't we all? And so I just want to actually invite up Kimberly right now to share about 5 minutes or so of her journey. Check to see if the mic's on.
Can you hear me? Don't let him fool you. I really can't stand him. But I'm very honored to be here, and thank you very much. 3-4 years ago, if you told me I'd be standing here right now, I would have told you were crazy. Upon meeting Brian, nobody knew who we were. We were just known as the homeless. Nobody took the time to sit down and talk. Nobody wanted to. They were afraid of us. I raised my 2 girls on the street. And unfortunately for my choices and my decisions, they were raised around drugs, gangs, the street life. They hated living with mom because they always were, we know who your mom is. Nah, I didn't want that for my kids. In 2007, my kids were 15 and 12. I went to prison for the first time. I did a 16-month term, and I lost custody of my kids. While I was in county jail sitting there, my 12-year-old was still on the street. My 15-year-old was in a shelter. For 3 days, I didn't know where my daughter was, sitting in county jail, not knowing. By the grace of God, she was saved by 2 Santa Ana PD officers who had arrested me numerous times before that. These officers put their job aside and listened to their heart and saved my daughter off the street. When I got out of prison, I made the choice, one of the hardest choices in my life, was to leave my kids in the foster system because I had nothing to offer them. Freshly out of prison, a drug addict, street life. Nah, I wanted better for my kids. So I left them there. To this day, My oldest daughter has my granddaughter, which is a beautiful, beautiful child. And my youngest, they're doing great. They have a lot of anger in them because Mom made that decision to leave them in the system. See, we're not bad people. We really aren't. We're just like you. I mean, you could be sitting next to somebody who's homeless right now and never know it. Because we're all human beings. Can you imagine waking up in the morning, having everything, your house, your car, your job, your family, savings, everything, having that in the morning. By 2 o'clock that afternoon, you have nothing because it's all been taken. What would you do? Think about it. What would you do? How would you live? You might make a wrong decision, go the wrong way. Well, that's what some of us did. I made it numerous choices of turning the wrong way and doing the right thing. I thought I was doing the right thing at the right time. But I wasn't. We're all human beings, and we're all a family. I'm adopted, but I've been looking for my natural family my entire life. At one point in time, just recently, I thought I found my natural mom. I was so joyous. I was like, yes, now I know where I come from. Turns out she wasn't. And I called Brian that day, and I was so upset. But he helped me realize that I do have a family. We may not be blood, but we're family. Because we all have one Father, and He's been there the whole time. And that's our Heavenly Father. We need to put everything aside and look at the person in their heart, because that's what Brian did. I was always known as a drug dealer, the prostitute, this, that, and the other thing, but I was never known as Kimberly. And hearing Brian say it even to this day still gives me goosebumps, because I don't know who that is. But I'm learning. There's a song on 92.7, which is a Christian station, that says we all bleed the same. We do. I'm just like you. I got kids just like you. You cut us, we bleed the same, right? All we ask is to be acknowledged. We didn't ask for any of this. We really didn't. We didn't wake up one morning and say, okay, I want to be a homeless drug dealer. That's not what I had planned. I got 2 friends that were unfortunately just sentenced to 15 to life because of a bad choice. If you really want to help and you really want to be there, yeah, the money and everything is nice. Yeah, okay, I'm not going to lie about that. Take the time and take somebody to dinner. Brian and I have many meals, can't you tell? But to take somebody to dinner, it doesn't cost very much. McDonald's, Taco Bell, whatever. Sit down and talk with them. Get to know them and not the label of homeless. Because homeless is defined as not having a home. But in all reality is home is where the heart is, right? Or where you lay your head. And if you think about it, none of us are homeless. Because on the walls, we've got the trees, the buildings, the floor is your ground. But most importantly, you got the stars as your roof. We all sleep under the same stars. So why are we treating each other differently? Why?
Look at your ovation.
I can't stand you.
Is my mic back on? Yes. So I just want to tell a quick story. Kim doesn't share this story, but I always share it because it impacted me like crazy. When Kim's painting sold, we were able to raise $1,250 to help Kim. And when her painting sold, her daughter, who she mentioned, that was given to the foster care system, needed help with her rent. She was behind in her rent payment, and I think she needed like $250. And Kim said, hey, Brian, can I use $250 of my money to help pay my daughter's rent? And so I went to her daughter's apartment with Kim. Kim was there already. And we wrote a check from Faces of Santa Ana to her daughter's management company. And they both were weeping and crying and hugging each other. And Kim's daughter said, my mom has never been able to really help me financially. This is the first time in my life that I was able to count on her for something that I really, really needed. And so we have these opportunities as artists, as people, to kind of step into these really deep, truthful life circumstances. And I saw a bond on a bridge being made between you and your daughter that may have been broken for a long time. But it's those little things, those little areas to sort of reconnect that we're able to foster. And it's not because of the paintings. The paintings are a good thing, but it's because of being motivated by love, motivated by your heart. So thank you, Kim, for sharing. Thank you all for her ovation. That was amazing. Let me help you off. All right, we're making good timing. So I'm going to show you another video. Kim's actually in the video, so you'll see her make a cameo. But this video was made by BBC, the British Broadcasting Company, and they flew out and said, we want to make a mini documentary on Faces of Santa Ana. So now what gained like national attention is now international. And how is this artist in the city of Santa Ana in California, like, sometimes I'm like, how is it even possible that we're impacting internationally now? So I'm going to show you this video. It's about 3 to 4 minutes again, and it highlights Kimberly and another client of ours named Stevie Boy. And they did an amazing job capturing the heart and the process and the relationship building, as well as the impact of a client seeing their painting for the first time in this little short clip, okay? So I'm going to play that for you now. All right, so I think we did really well on timing, which I'm happy I didn't go over. We have 15 minutes. And so this is an opportunity for you guys. If you want to follow Faces of Santa Ana, if you have Facebook or Instagram, now's the moment. You're allowed to take out your phones and ignore me for 30 seconds. And follow Faces of Santa Ana. This is like our running blog. So I use Facebook and Instagram to keep people updated on what's happening. We release new paintings. And I aim to just daily encourage people to kind of step out and love others. So if you're feeling like you're having a bad day, chances are you can head to Faces of Santa Ana on a social media account and find hope and find some maybe purpose for your day. Just let's step out and do something different. And also we have T-shirts available outside. So there's a lot of people here, and I understand that. And we probably have somewhere around 200 T-shirts available. And so here's how this works. There's a link below, faces.fundraise.org. You can just type that exactly into your browser. And if you make a donation to Faces of Santa Ana of $30 or more, whatever's on your heart, we'll give you a free T-shirt as a gift. So if you want 2 T-shirts, $60 or more, and so on, right? And so we have a bunch of T-shirts available of many of the clients who I've spoke to today. We have Kim shirts available. And so if we do run out of shirts, let's say they don't have your size when you get out there, when you donate to faces.fundraise.org, put in your address gets put in and your information gets collected, and we'll write down your name when you come up to our table, and we'll ship you your shirt. We'll personally mail it to you if your size is not available by the time you get there. So when you arrive to the table outside, you're going to walk right past the registration desk, and you'll see a table set up with a bunch of T-shirts. And as you walk past that table, you'll notice the T-shirt set up. Just show us an email confirmation of your donation receipt, and then we'll give you a shirt in your size, and you actually get to pick between a couple clients. My friend is also there printing and pressing T-shirts live. And so if you want to pick your size and pick your print, he'll press it for you live. And they're beautiful. He's done an amazing job keeping them really vibrant and keeping the life of the paintings active on the T-shirts. Does that all make sense? Yes? And so we have 15 minutes, but I'm just going to end a little sooner so that once we break, there's actually more time if you want to come and talk and hang out and chat. Cool? Thank you very much for your time.
Stay up here, Brian. Stay up here, man. Stay up here. Let's go back up. All right, everybody. What a phenomenal speech. What a message that was shared. Kimberly was just fantastic with her message to us. Unbelievable. And we just found out, and we're going to, this is what NAEHCY's going to do, and we're going to see if you can help us too in regards to Kimberly. A homeless liaison informed us that Kimberly is looking for her family. And I asked Kimberly to see if we can have her permission because we would like to, we have her picture, we would like to put it on our NAEHCY Facebook page. And then for you, we would love for you, if you have a Facebook post, to then share it out there because we don't know where her family is. And you can see Kimberly's already breaking down right now because it's so important to her to find her family. But we want to see what NAEHCY can do to help Kimberly find her family. So I'm just going to let you know we're going to do that, and we're trying to help Kimberly. Also, you know, when we saw the video yesterday, with Orange County Department of Evidence here, we found out about Brian and his great work he does as the Faces of Santa Ana and out in Orange County. I mean, it's just unbelievable. The mission, the passion that you have, they're helping these families and adults. It's just incredible. And I thank you, local committees, for giving us this name to be a keynote speaker because you've just been incredible, a motivator, sharing the story and all about love. So now we have the mosaic is here. And for those that helped create it, thank you very much. All those that helped put it together, because some of you helped put it together, our board members put it together. Here's what it looks like. It's going to be up here when we're all done, about 9:40-ish or so. You can take pictures here. And then this afternoon, we're going to be delivering it to the Thomas House. And we have two fabulous representatives from the Thomas House here. Ryan McCutcheon, please come up now. And Rita Martinson, please come up now. We're going to have a picture moment if you're looking for it. It's kind of like the passing from Brian over to the Thomas House. And then you'll have a few minutes to say something in that part. So that's just a picture moment. And then we're going to have the Thomas House say a few words in that. Very good. Thank you, Brian, man. That was awesome.
Hi, everybody. My name is Rita Martinson, and I am the development manager with Thomas House Family Shelter. First of all, I am overwhelmed by Brian, the contribution of this beautiful mosaic by NAEHCY and the board of directors. So thank you so much for all of this. Like Brian, Thomas House started 32 years ago by our founders in Garden Grove. Mary and Bernie Sells, they were walking in and out of their local grocery store and kept encountering homeless families with children, and they wanted to do something about it as well. And so after 32 years, we now have this beautiful shelter called Thomas House Family Shelter. And this mosaic will be part of our history, as this past summer we have expanded and added 8 additional apartment units to help homeless families with children. So we are so excited. Thank you. Yeah, it's amazing. And Thomas House, we are around to provide a safe and supportive environment and the resources necessary for families with children to remain together while empowering them to become independent and self-sufficient. Contributions like this not only make us a roof over our families with children, but it truly makes our shelter a home for them. One program that we really do embrace is our youth development program, where we are really wanting our children to not only do well in school, but to really thrive, to learn with their personalities, to learn their interests. So having a beautiful piece like this, we have many creative children to let them know that there are people outside of Thomas House who want to help them, who want to support them, is really an integral part of our program. So I want to keep this brief. I just want to say thank you again, Brian, for this, and thank you to NAEHCY for this wonderful contribution. We are just so thankful for having all of you being here, for choosing to be engaged, for choosing to be socially responsible, and choosing to be part of the systemic solution with us. So thank you again, and we're so excited to have this up at Thomas House Family Shelter.
Thank you very much. Beautiful. We'll see you this afternoon. All right. Few announcements. Denise has asked me, she's looking for a young lady who bought a sweatshirt to please see Denise after this session. But the big news is, for the random acts of kindness, over $15,000 was generated for the random acts of kindness. Incredible. Our goal, as I mentioned on Sunday, was $10,000. You guys really stepped it up. And just thank you, thank you, thank you. NAEHCY says awesome scholarships going to be given for next year for our scholars that will be awarded at next year's site. Also, for those that contributed to the food bank for Second Harvest on that part, thank you very much for that contribution. They'll be picking up the generous donations from NAEHCY this afternoon. This is being, as we mentioned, delivered this afternoon to the Thomas House. If anyone's interested in going, it's about a 10-minute drive, I heard. Garden Grove. You're more than welcome to join us there. So next, there's kind of like 3 things left to do. One is very important, to talk about next year's site where we're going to at NAEHCY. So I'm going to call up Washington, D.C.'s fantastic state coordinator, Nicole Lee Mwanda, to the stage, and she's going to be introducing her awesome team. And the mic will be on for you.
Good morning, family. How are you all today after this fabulous conference? Good, good. My name is Nicole Lee Mwanda. I am the Homeless Education State Coordinator with the District of Columbia. One of the things that I'm so passionate about is that when you come to a NAEHCY conference, it's like you become part of the NAEHCY family. And ultimately, not only is it a chance to make fantastic connections with people that are doing innovative things around the country, but it's also a chance to be inspired, to be uplifted, and to go forward to really do amazing things with the populations that you serve. And so one of the things when I thought about what we could gift you with to inspire you and prepare you for the next year's wonderful, hopefully wonderful conference, is that I wanted you to be able to think about how you can remain engaged with the people that you connected with today. So each of you should have received this at your table. And I thought about all the times that I met amazing people and took their cards and stuffed it in my bag or stuffed it in the back of my suitcase. And then I forgot about them when I got home. So this is an opportunity for you to take those business cards, those connections that you made, organize it, be inspired about how you need to come to DC next year, but to really go forward in an organized way and keep track of these people that you've met, to really do something impactful in your communities. And so part of what I wanted to share with you also is, as Brian spoke about, as the MKV State Coordinator recipient, Pam spoke about, that ultimately we are here together to create change, to do something amazing. And now that you are part of the NAEHCY family, one of the things that I always share with my homeless liaisons in DC is that you are the gatekeepers. You are the people that can make a difference in the child's life. You are the one that can either make or break their existence with their with their educational experience, and that educational experience can create change in the lives of these young people for generations to come. So you either are the one that opens the gate for them to do some amazing things in their school systems, in their communities, or you're the one that can shut it down and make them feel less than. So how do you honor the people that you touch? And so our theme for next year is We the People. And so ultimately, we are the people that create the change. We are the people that do amazing things in the lives of our young people. And so I want you to think about how you can go back to your communities, not only to create change, but also convince your organization and your state agencies to send you to DC next year, so that you can continue to go forward and do great things. So one of the things for next year, as far as DC hosting it, is we're excited to be able to share with you the innovative things that we're doing in DC, but also the innovative things that our neighbors are doing in Virginia and Maryland. And so all of us collectively really want to put forward a wonderful experience for you in 2019. And one of the things that DC is known for is that it is the birthplace of go-go music, which was what I came on stage to. And so the man who is known as the father of go-go, Chuck Brown, that song was called A Family Affair. And when you participate in NAEHCY and you come to the conference, when you come to DC, we want you to feel like you have come to be with family. And so I'd like to go ahead and invite up my family from the Office of the State Superintendent of Education. I have 3 of my colleagues here, if they can join me on stage, because they are definitely going to be instrumental in us creating change and making DC a fabulous event for you all. So each of us wanted to share with you, I'm going to let them introduce themselves, but each of them wanted to share with you things that they felt passionate about, as far as in addition to the wonderful NAEHCY conference experience in 2019, we want you to explore DC. And so for me, as someone that's actually from Arizona, and I'm a transplant, but DC has become a home to me. And ultimately, what drew me to DC was the thoughts of experiencing all the cultural aspects and the historical aspects. And so for me, I love going to the Smithsonian museums. You have 19 free museums to experience. So whether you want to learn more about the indigenous peoples of the Americas or learn more about African American culture, you can visit the museums. So let my colleagues introduce themselves and share with you what they want you to experience in DC.
Good morning, NAEHCY family. My name is Jacente Brown, and I am happy to be back at NAEHCY after all these years. It's good to see familiar faces. So I just wanted to share some of the things that I love about DC. And if anybody knows Jacente, you know that I love to eat. I love to embrace the food in every single state and country and culture that I visit. So while you're in the DC area, I invite you all to embrace the culture of the food. And the good news is you can take a trip around the globe in the District of Columbia. For example, why don't you take a trip to Chinatown where you can enjoy, and write these suggestions down. This is good. You don't want to forget this. The Tiger Fork, which is a Chinese restaurant in Chinatown. How about if you want to take a trip over to India, where, am I still knocking that down? Where you want to enjoy the restaurant Rasika, R-A-S-I-K-A, Rasika, if you like Indian food, which is one of my favorite. What about taking a trip over to Ethiopia and enjoying some Ethiopian food, getting in, digging with your hands? Try Dukum. That's a great place to go. If you enjoy Mediterranean food, how about Fig and Olive? What about if you just want to get down for that good Sunday dinner and enjoy some African American food? I invite you to go to Georgia Brown's. In addition, if you want to try Mexican food, there's Tequila Habanero. Or I really invite you to eat like a local. Now, these are the people that hang out there in DC. These are the natives. These are some of the implants that's been there for years, and these are some of my local favorites. The world-renowned Ben's Chili Bowl. Has anybody heard of Ben's Chili Bowl around here? Yeah, you've got to take a trip to Ben's Chili Bowl. Not only is the food delicious and the staff wonderful to experience, but you can see the beautiful art murals on the wall of the different stars and the different presidents who've visited the area. In addition, I would also encourage you all to step out of your comfort zone and have brunch at Nellie's. Now, Nellie's isn't just good food, but it's the best drag brunch that you have ever experienced in your life. I'm talking about they pull their wigs off and dance in the streets off of U Street in the DC. It is another local favorite. And finally, you cannot come to the DC, Maryland, or Virginia, better known as the DMV area, without sitting down and enjoying a heaping pile of dozen #1 male crabs down at the wharf. Not the new wharf, but ask them to take you to the old wharf and dig down into some Chesapeake crabs. So I encourage you to enjoy all of the restaurants that I've mentioned and go out and visit the wonderful culture that is in our restaurants in DC. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Dana Simpson, and I don't know about the rest of you, but coming from one coast to the next, every day after the conference, I'm like, unless it's a short walk, I'm done for the day. So I wanted to share some things that are going to be close to the conference and actually in walking distance. So, do you want an escape from the conference workshops? The Great Escape Room is within 2 blocks, so invite your team to attempt the Great Escape together, but you have to hurry because you only have 1 hour. And unlike any boardroom that you've ever convened a meeting in, the boardroom offers cocktails, pub grub, and vintage board games. The boardroom. So I gather that no one in here had the winning Powerball or Mega Millions ticket, but I always feel like I've got the golden ticket. at the Chocolate House, which offers top shelf artisanal chocolates and confections from all over the world. Feeling diplomatic? Visit Embassy Row. Once nicknamed Millionaire's Row, is now home to many embassies that are as beautiful as they are different, and it's also home to our vice president. Workshops have you feeling like a caged animal? Well, don't tell Meijong, Tien Tien, or Bebe, because they're the resident giant pandas at the National Zoo, which is non-blocks from where we'll be convening next year. Thank you. I hope to all see you next year in my birthplace, Washington, D.C.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. All right, we're going to close this out real good. All right, so I want to say it was great being here this week in California. My wife is originally from LA, so I'm out here pretty frequently. So I will say this is my third trip to the West Coast this year. So this is almost like my second home. We are looking forward to hosting you all next November, November 2nd through the 5th. As you know, we are the sports capital of the world. Pun intended, sports capital of the world with the hockey world champs. There you go. So we encourage you to come rock your red. If you're engaged in football, we definitely want you to come represent your home sports team in football. Maybe the Redskins will have a Monday night game. We don't know, but if the gods are lucky and align everything, maybe we'll do an NFL game. We definitely want to encourage you to come and check out the Washington Wizards, our basketball team. We just got Dwight Howard. I don't know how that's going to work out. But y'all got a very capable team up here in Golden State that has just been killing everybody. But we definitely want you to come and enjoy all the different sights and sounds. As the things that was mentioned earlier, one of the highlight exhibits at the National Zoo Museum, they have the zoo lights. So in the evenings, there's lights decorated, Christmas lights decorated all around the zoo. It's a nice walking experience. So if you bring in your family out as well, it'll be a great opportunity for you and your kids to enjoy after the sessions are over. And of course, we do want you to go out and visit your family down in the DC, Maryland, and Virginia area. As we've all met new faces today, a lot of people have shared with us that they have relatives and cousins and friends and high school and college alumni that are staying out in the DC area. It's a great opportunity for you to reconnect with them, share the city experience, and we look forward to you enjoying the conference next year in DC. Thank you.
So if you weren't convinced that you should come to NAEHCY 2019, hopefully you're convinced now. So again, we welcome you to the District of Columbia next year. We're excited. We can't wait to have you all there. And for those of you that may be visual learners, if you didn't get it just by hearing it and visualizing yourself there, we have a wonderful video to show you some highlights of DC, and have a safe journey home. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, we're excited to be in Washington next year. I personally have been to the Washington Hilton where our conference is next year. It's a fabulous location on that part. And yes, it's the Capitals, Washington Capitals, you know, for hockey, because I'm a big hockey fan. All right, so I'm asking for all the California volunteers. Over 175 local California people were part of our team this year. I want them to, whoever's here, please come forward up on the stage, please. We couldn't be here without this awesome group. Jeff, come on up. All these wonderful people. Come on up. We want to get a picture for you guys. They have been just outstanding with Leanne and Jeannie and Rajit and Julie and Jeff. Just incredible team. And Tom. They are just fantastic, all the leadership, all these fantastic volunteers here every day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. They're just incredible. They're out there facilitating, doing the registration, random acts of kindness, all sorts of things they were doing. And Nicole, you have big shoes to fill. Every year, everybody keeps stepping up. Leanne has been wonderful, but I know you're up to the task. And I appreciate Marilyn and Virginia. They're going to be part of our team, too. They're going to be awesome assisting us. It's going to be a great group. Oh, you want to use...
I want to thank everyone for coming to Orange County. When we first found out we were going to have the conference here, I said, oh no, it's not coming here. It's not. But I want to thank everyone coming. We are very excited. As you see, we have a large and mighty team. And over the past year, we all got together. We had monthly conference calls. We really wanted to bring Orange County to you, and we were really proud the fact that we had to have our students here, Faces of Santa Ana. We had our panel yesterday. So we really wanted to show Orange County and what was going on. But we also had some great cheerleaders here. The fact that we had our random acts of kindness, and I want to recognize first Jamie Larson. Where are you, Jamie? Come on up. I just wanted to recognize Jamie was the one that came up with the idea of we didn't want the silent auction this year. We want to do something different. So we thank our NAEHCY family for letting us do something different this year. So Jamie worked very tirelessly on putting together, getting all the donations. So I wanted to acknowledge her because she was our lead on that. And thank you for a successful amount of money that was donated to our scholars next year. So thank you very much for that, Jamie.
Woo, Jamie!
Next, as you know, we had numerous volunteers. And so we had one lady that was tirelessly recruiting people, calling people last minute saying, please come on and help us. So I want to recognize Christina Keller. Christina tirelessly was working with all the community members, really asking our volunteers from our local community as well as all of our local liaisons. So I wanted to recognize her again as being really out there, helping support us. I think we put on maybe 10, 15 miles a day walking through here. So I really wanted to acknowledge her because she was the face upstairs running around. So thank you again for that. Thank you. And Pam. And then our third lead person I wanted to recognize is our decoration person, Pam Hancock. Come on up. She's not here. Well, I have to tell you, she's actually decorating. The table decorations on the table, the art pieces, things that we want really worked for. We wanted to thank her. Those were all donated, so we wanted to thank her for getting those out to us. So thank you to Pam, who's not here right now. And last but not least, I cannot thank enough our state coordinator, Leanne Wheeler. Leanne is our rock, and really, I don't know, with a state this size, we are very fortunate to have a lady that is so passionate and is so sincere and dedicated, and we're all here to help support her too. So really want to acknowledge all the time and effort that she helped to get us all together, so I wanted to thank her. Thank you again.
So on the behalf, we're really excited to go to DC, and we will look forward to reading there next year. So thank you.
Woo-hoo! Thank you, Jean. You gotta scoot in, you gotta scoot in. Y'all gotta scoot in. You gotta scoot in. Roger, you gotta get, you won't be seen, you're cut off there. You're all cut off. Are you cut off? You may be cut off. All right. The drawing is next.
What's that?
The drawing is next.
Okay. I think Leanne's going to
Drawing. Okay. All right. Thank you all. Y'all have been fantastic. It is drawing time. After the drawing time, I have a final message to give. I call it the grand finale. Guaranteed worth the price of admission. My board is all worried. What's Dave going to do? They're all worried about my grand finale. Yes. You're not on.
No, I'm not on. Now I am. We have 2 unclaimed tickets really quick. 2 prizes. So we can't do the grand prize until you check your tickets, because we're going to draw for these unclaimed ones. This is the gift card for Walmart, and the number again is 368746. Again, 368746. You got it?
We got a winner.
Woo! All right, because we were going to give it away. Jamie, where are you? Did Jamie leave? Here you go, ma'am. Oh, I got to double check it. You can't be trusted. There you go. Congratulations. Woo! Okay, we got another unclaimed one. This is for gift cards for Starbucks, Target, Subway, Macy's, DSW, iTunes, NAEHCY Gear, and 76. Pardon my voice. Here's the numbers. 923955. Again, 923955. Woohoo! All right, now, luckily, because we were going to give them away. We were going to give them away.
And they made my day.
Okay, so now what we have done is taken everybody's green ticket that everybody received at registration. That's in the purple bag. I'm now dumping all of the tickets that were not winners into this, and this will be for the grand prize, which is, I'm not cheating yet. Is there anything in that box? Is there anything on the floor?
No, ma'am.
So what is the grand prize? What's the grand prize, Dave?
And show them that the other tickets are in too, the
So
green
here's
ones.
some green ones, all the green ones.
Right in front of you.
Oh, here's some more.
All right, so the grand prize is next year's conference registration and a hotel room at the Washington Hilton. We thank the Washington Hilton for donating a room. So whoever wins this, all you need to do is get there. Everything else is taken care of.
And you have to be present to win.
Present to win here today, remember. So hopefully the people that left early, they gave you their tickets. All right, there's lots in here. I'm just going to pull one. I'll let you know what color it is so you can go from there. Uh-oh. It's a red ticket. It's a red ticket, so I better put some numbers on here. But maybe they're not here. All right, 923-573. 923-573. Woohoo! Come on down.
Wow, first one.
That's awesome. Present to win. Come on down. Or come on up. I thought we had to take at least 2, 3, 4 pulls. This is fantastic.
We got to double check her, though.
I know, not trustworthy.
She's wearing one of those orange badges.
Careful coming up. Come on up. Come on up. So she bought 5, and the lucky winner was right there, 923-573. And is Rebecca Budge. What state?
California.
From California.
I just sat in on your trainings.
How many times have you been to the NAEHCY conference?
First time.
This is her first year at the conference, everybody. Awesome. Go see the lady right down there, Miss Betty. She's going to see you, Miss Betty. Thank you, Leanne. All right, so it's grand finale time. And you're going to have lots of time. I need just 5 minutes. You're going to have lots of time to go outside, see Brian, take pictures, come up here, take pictures, get your T-shirts. And you know, if they don't have your size, you can go online and order what you want exactly. Okay, so I want to pull that slide up. All right, so as I told you on Saturday, you know, especially the first-time people here, it's about getting engaged, building relationships. There's outstanding people doing best practices with staff development, with training, and all that part. And you notice that magic. You heard certain words all throughout the week, especially with our keynotes. Every keynote person talked about love, getting engaged, finding that person that needs that little spark. You heard it from Brian, you heard it from Carolyn, you heard it from Mandy. You heard these students that came up here. Let it be on the video, with the scholar videos, you saw them, and also the 3 students that shared their mission with you. And that message was very important. And so what I'm trying to let you know about is that you make a difference. Because I'm not going to read the whole thing. Everybody in this room, that if you're in education or in the community, you've been engaged with each other. You've met new people here today. Hopefully you're going to stay in contact with these people. We got something new that's going to happen next year to first-year conference attendees, because I was just so overwhelmed by the response that when those first persons stood up, and it's about almost 400 people here, 1/4 of it's all first-year attendees. And I try to talk to people, especially the first-years ones, and they said this has been a fantastic conference. They learned so much. They met these wonderful people. It's all because of you out there. All the ones that gave best practices presentations on Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We're going to have one more today. The people that came, you know, when you go to the welcome reception, when you go to the annual membership meeting, you're sitting in here afterwards talking to people. You're at the bar, wherever it may be. You're having fun. You're getting engaged. And so what I'm going to share you a little story, or 2 little stories, and I'm going to play a song. And I don't know if Bobby's here or not today. Bobby Jones, who replaced me in Cy Fair, she knows my grand finale things. But during Hurricane Katrina, you know, a lot of the Hurricane Katrina people came to Houston. And we got over 4,000 Katrina kids in our district. And I visited every shelter out there that the churches had in our school district and tried to meet these people personally. Let it be morning, afternoon, evening, weekends, and I even had principals with me, because I want to make sure that we make a difference out there to these people. So our department oversees graduation. We have 12 high schools, and at our Berry Center, we do graduation. And I was walking around the arena, making sure everything is going good, and there's this lady that comes down the stairs, and she goes, "Mr. Dave, Mr. Dave, Mr. Dave." And I stopped, and I talked with her, and she came up to me and says, "Dave," she's got 3 kids. And she remembered my name. She said, "I'm a Katrina victim, and I want to let you know that you made a difference in my family's life." and what you said about your school district, what's going to happen, these things, and all the programs you had involved. Because she had seen me a couple times, but I forgot her name. But it came to me saying that I made a difference with her and her family when they graduated. And she said, through all the hard times that we had through Katrina and what Cy-Fair School District did to this family, that we made a difference. And I know you all, everybody here has a story that you got engaged with a family at a school or out in the community at a homeless shelter, because we do make a difference. And when you go back to wherever you're working at, on the plane, you know, you may be going back on the plane today or tomorrow, and when I was in Albuquerque, I got a window seat. It was row 15C. And in row 15A was John McLaughlin. Now think about it. And there was nobody between us. I had an hour-and-a-half flight because John was going to Houston and then back home to Washington. So think about talking to John for an hour and a half. We learned about each other, about his family, my family. We didn't talk much about business, but we became great friends at that time. And we talk every year about this relationship, you know, and all that part. So who knows who you're going to see at the airport, who you're going to see at your next connection, because you've made a difference. So when you go back to your community, everybody knows your name, right? Because you've made an impact in your community. So you may remember this song from Cheers. You know, everybody knows your name. So when I do a grand finale, it's all about the great work that you do in your state and your community, because everybody knows your name. So when you think about Dave and you think about NAEHCY, we appreciate all the work that you do. Remember, all you are members of NAEHCY. Go out there and make sure they know your name. So everybody have a great rest of the day. The conference will see you in Washington, D.C.